From time to time as musicians, we come across things that just sound so good and we learn them in a specific song, but we fail to translate them to other parts of our playing or other songs. And in this video, I want to talk about some things that we can do to take those really cool things that we learn and be able to play them at other times as well. My name is Peter. Thanks for joining me at Our Worship Sound, where we're working to make worship technique and technology easier. When I think of this whole concept, the thing that most comes to mind is when I was learning a song called Let the Praise Begin by Fred Hammond. This is back a while ago, but it goes something like this. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Let the praise begin. Okay. It's kind of based on like a Stevie Wonder higher ground type of groove to it. But this second chord, so we got a D minor, and then we got this chord that I saw it in the music notation, and it was just this. And I was like, oh man, that sounds so good. And every time I play it, I'm like, oh man, that sounds so good. But what I've failed to do is really like think about, okay, what is that chord doing? And how can I use that in other keys and translate it to other songs as well? So I think the first step is when you encounter a chord, we're going to talk about chords and we're going to talk about riffs and how to just kind of break it down and get our heads wrapped around them and how we can translate those into other songs as well. I think the first thing to do with chords is to figure out what chord you're playing and then but also figure out like how it's functioning within the context of what you're playing. Okay, so for right now in this song, I'm playing in the key of D minor, and then I play this chord with F in the bass, an E flat, an A, and a D. Okay, and as I just kind of break this down, it's a little bit complicated. But I think of this as being an F chord. Here's the third of the chord. Here's the seventh. So we've got a dominant chord happening, an F dominant chord, F7. And then the D would be the 13th of the chord. So this is a kind of a sparsely voiced F13 chord. If I was to play the whole chord, it'd be like this. Okay, that would be an F13 chord. And so we're only taking 4 of those notes and playing it this way. Okay. So what function is an F13 chord playing there? It's leading to that next chord as a B flat major 7. So anytime I've got that progression happening, I can use that voicing to play it again. Okay, so let me think of a different example. Let's say I'm in the key of C, and I'm gonna go to an F chord. Okay, so what I could do is I could think C, instead of just C, I could play it as a C13 chord. Okay, but here's where I want to use that voicing. Okay, so I'm gonna play C in the bass, and then I'm gonna use the next note was that that flat 7, and then I've got the third of the chord and then the 13th. And then I go to the F major 7 or F major 9 when I just played. So anyway, back up. So I've got the C, and then I'm gonna make it that same voicing into the F major. Okay, so that's one thing we do is just figure out what is it doing within the context, how is it functioning, and then you can learn to apply it in other chord progressions as well. But then there's another step where you need to be able to transpose and get used to playing that chord so you can just kind of break it out when you need it. So let's try taking this progression that we are just playing a minute ago up a step. Okay, so I'm going to play instead of in the key of D minor, let's take it up to E minor. Okay, so now I'm going to do E minor, and then instead of an F7 or an F13, I'm going to play G13. Okay, so I'm going to find that instead of this, I'm going to play, and then I'm going to go to not B flat, but C major 7. Okay, so before I was playing D minor, F13, and B flat. Now I'm going to take everything up a step. Okay, so it's not just knowing the process and knowing how to figure out what you need, it's actually playing it and actually getting your fingers to go to those notes for a different chord. Okay, and you don't have to learn this in every key, but do it in a few different keys that you can at least begin to ingrain that into something that you do, something that you can transfer to other songs as well. So that's how I would do it for really breaking down a cool chord if you encountered that. As far as a riff or a melody that you like, here's one that I've covered in a different video. Okay, and I think this one is probably a little bit easier to think through because the main thing here is just to figure out where these notes are sitting within the scale. Okay, so if I'm doing this, I'm playing within the key of C major. I'm playing a G chord, and I'm going to an A chord, but that really is kind of secondary. That's all within the key of C major. And so if I understand this riff within the key of C major, I'm playing 1, 7, 1, and then 5, 4, 3. Those are the scale notes that I'm playing. Here's the scale: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 again. So I'm just playing. So 1, 7, 1, 5, 4, 3. The first scale note, seventh scale note, the fifth scale note, fourth scale note, third scale note. Okay, so play that a few times. Okay, so then the next step, this is a lot simpler. Just learn to play it in different keys. So I'm going to play now in D flat major. So I'm going to go to A flat to B flat minor, and then D major, and then let's do one more. Let's do E flat. Okay, so I could use some practice doing that. But just you get it in your ear, you get it in your head as far as the number of scale notes you're playing, and you also get it in your fingers because you're doing it and repeating it, just kind of getting it used to something that you can play anytime. So again, this is just taking something that you find that's cool, and whether it's a chord or a riff, and just getting your head really around what you're playing and learn to apply it in different keys. And I think you're going to find that you're more able to take those cool things and apply them in a number of different songs and not just leave it in that one song where you learned it. So I hope that's helpful. There are a couple other videos linked here. You can check those out. Be sure to subscribe for notifications on future videos as they come out. And if you have any questions or about anything in this video, just leave a comment below. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you soon.